This is One on One.
I'm a resident of Lower Manhattan, about a mile from Ground Zero, and I actually watched the towers collapse.
You could not see, the fires were burning, it was pure chaos.
It's like the gates of hell just opened up.
There was a tremendous amount of toxins in that environment.
You know, one toxin over time will give you cancer, but 2,500 different chemicals mixed together, we were lab rats.
And the way that these toxins act is they don't act necessarily immediately.
I had a lot of friends of mine who were getting sick, and we weren't really being taken care of, and we weren't really being taken serious. Kenny Speck, my friend, says to me, "Hey, Ray, you gotta check this guy out, John Feal."
What is it that you need from us? What can we do?
John Feal was introduced to us early on, and it was really one of the high points for me in my medical career.
You know, a lot of people call me a first responder too, but I wound up correcting them. I responded to 9/11, but 9/17 is the day I got hurt. All the benefits that I paid into, why am I having to fight for workman's comp? And meanwhile, I'm losing everything. But the whole process started. I started helping others. And then, you know, one thing led to another. Like, well, start a foundation. And I was like, what? How do you spell foundation, you know?
We were watching with horror as the Congress was about to go on a holiday break and not deal with this Health and Compensation Act, called as the Droga Bill. And so we reached out to John to try and get him on the show because we'd heard about his lobbying efforts.
When we went down to D.C., we were just a bunch of blue-collar workers going down and guerrilla lobbying.
You know, this is a government-run agency, this bill. The healthcare and the compensation. And like any government-run agency, people fall through the cracks. So those people still need our help.
So much work to be done. Two guys right here doing it. John Feal, you saw him in that video, founder, president, chairman, Feal Good Foundation, and Richard Alley's former FDNY Deputy Chief. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
People watch. It's, as we're doing this program at the end of 2018, we're getting further away from September 11, 2001. What do you want people to take away from that other than being emotionally moved? That's not enough, is it?
Oh, I almost cried watching that.
But for the rest of us, that's not enough.
Well, you know, 9/11 is the longest day in the history of days. It's not over for us. It's still killing. It's still taking Richie's friends and my friends, and we see so much pain and suffering on a daily basis that this day will not end for us. It might be 18 years for the general population, but 9/11 is still happening.
And by the way, you referred to your injury here. Let's let folks know what that injury was on the 17th.
Well, my injury pales in comparison to those who were deathly ill. Roughly 8,000 pounds of steel crushed my left foot, and I spent 11 weeks in the hospital with gangrene. I almost died. But again, I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I've been blessed to be healthy enough now to donate a kidney to a complete stranger. But again, Richie and I, we see so much. So we lost 36 9/11 responders since September 1st of this year. And
36
since
just in 2008?
I keep track of a calendar year from September to September, and we're at 36 people. And last year we lost 163 in a calendar year. We're going to probably double that this year. And the pain and the suffering's real. And you know, we could joke around a lot off camera, but when we have to do our work, we're serious. And probably the humor is what keeps me sane and alive, because this is painful. This hurts.
So the compensation fund that we're talking about, what is the compensation fund? When is it scheduled to, quote unquote, run out? And what does everyone need to know right now if they really want to make a difference and not just feel emotionally moved, which is okay, but not nearly enough?
Fortunately, in my post-fire department career, I got to working for Barrish and McGarry Law Office, which we represent the 9/11 community. And anyone that's been injured or made sick by the toxins of 9/11 is entitled to two things. One, to enroll in a World Trade Center health program, nationwide health program for first responders and survivors. It also created the Victims' Compensation Fund. Now, the health program was made permanent in 2015. The Victims' Compensation Fund was extended for another 5 years. It will expire on December 20th of 2020. So the clock is ticking.
Who needs to act, and where's the money going to come from?
Well, the 9/11 community needs to activate itself. John and myself are already initiating work in Washington.
John Stewart's involved?
John Stewart is involved. He's been a great advocate. Senator Gillibrand has initiated a Senate bill. The House sponsors, Carolyn Maloney, Jerry Nadler, and Peter King, have initiated in the House.
Where's President Trump on this?
Don't know yet.
What do you mean? You
Yeah,
don't
well,
know?
so, you know, while the bill expires.
He's a New Yorker.
Sure he is. The bill expires December 18, 2020.
Right.
That's irrelevant because it's not going to make it to that because it's going to run out of money before that. That's why Senator Gillibrand introduced this legislation. Where the president is and where the White House is right now, it's not our main focus because right now we need to get the House and the Senate and the support that the bill needs. They're going to go home on winter recess, and we're going to have to start the process all over again. You know, we've made 263 trips to D.C. I've had over 1,200 meetings with members of Congress and the Senate. This has been now a 14-year journey. This is now the Sedroga bill the third time. This is the trilogy. This is our final stand. We have zero tolerance for any elected official or anybody in the White House that's going to get in our way. I've almost been arrested. I've dedicated my life to the 9/11 community. I'm not afraid of anybody in Washington, D.C. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You got a moral responsibility to help these men and women, uniform and non-uniform. And if they don't, then they're going to get the other side of John Feal. And listen, they've seen the other side of me. Just Google Bob Goodlatte, November 4, 2015. He was called an asshole on national TV. I said, sir, I'm not calling you a name. I'm giving you a title. Because he stood in the way of getting a bill passed that would save lives.
Along these lines, do you think there are members of the United States Congress, the House and the Senate, from other parts of this country? And this is not a political stand. It's just a question of whether we really are one nation. And I don't mean immediately after 9/11. I mean now. Do you think there are people in other parts of this nation, pretty far away from New York and New Jersey, and Washington and Pennsylvania, where this happened, who were just like, hey, listen, sorry, it's...
We always dealt with a bit of an anti-New York bias. And, you know, it happened in New York because that's where the Trade Center was. But if it was Dallas, Texas, they would have, the bad guys would have went there. So it's very frustrating.
But this isn't, excuse me for interrupting, this is not just a New York issue.
No.
There are people across this country that are getting sick and dying.
We had first responders from 433 of the 435 congressional districts, all 50 states.
And not just first responders. We're talking about workers who were there, right?
Volunteers, building trades,
all
workers.
26
children.
teams from
Children.
around the country.
Who are losing...
We have school children that were, when the schools reopened, that got poisoned. Now, you know, later on in life, 26, 27-year-old women with breast cancer, unheard of in the general population.
Listen, the aftermath of 9/11 has caused these illnesses and these deadly cancers. The absorption through the nose, mouth, and skin. We ate there, we slept there, we cried there, we worked there, we went to the bathroom there. Some people probably did other things there. Made us sick. There is nobody in Congress or the Senate or the White House or anywhere in the federal government or state that can say 9/11 didn't make us sick. We no longer have to prove 9/11 got us sick. Somebody has to prove that 9/11 didn't get us sick. We now control our own destiny. This is our story to tell. Yeah. And we're going to ensure that we get another bill passed for the 9/11 community.
So here's what I'm also curious about. Real quick, the head of the EPA at the time, and I don't want to relitigate history, Christy Todd Whitman, I remember her public statements, cover of the Daily News. It is safe.
She should be rotting in a prison cell.
Say that again?
She should be rotting in a prison cell.
Because?
She contaminated a population of 425,000 people. That's first responders and everyone.
She said, that's the information I had. I only repeated what I was told.
Let me take that a step further. She took orders from the White House. And herself and the former Mayor Giuliani told us the air was safe to breathe and the water was safe to drink. They both lied. They wanted the financial capital of the world back up and running. And human life took a back seat to the almighty dollar. And she has to live with that. And God bless her if she can.
For the rest of us, the number, our team will put up the website again.
Yeah.
If they want to be helpful, what do we do right now? They watch right now. They're moved by both of you, your contribution, your commitment. your sacrifice, your level of caring and love for your brothers and sisters, still affected by what happened that day. What can and should people do right now?
They can Google the Feal Good Foundation.
It'll be up right now. They go to the website.
Well, it's not even the Feal Good Foundation. They can go to the World Trade Center Health Program website, the CDC.gov website. They can go to Barish McGarry's website. There's so much information out there for people who don't believe that they were sick enough to be in the program. They don't want to take something that they don't deserve. All of these things that we hear all the time. Let me tell you something. This is why we do what we do. I've been to 181 funerals. I paid for 9 of them. Some of these were my best friends that died.
Those are mass cards from
wakes and funerals, you know. And I'm tired of seeing people sick and die. And listen, we can get all the legislation passed that that's presented to us, but it's not going to stop these men and women from dying. But what we can do is give them a little dignity when they die and make sure that their families are taken care of, so they're not left with mounting medical bills.
You have an open, sounds like a cliche, but we mean every word of it. You have an open invitation here at Public Broadcasting to continue to tell not just your story, but the story of so many others, and we want to be helpful in any way we can.
We appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back, right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Rowan University, Johnson & Johnson, Englewood Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, the North Ward Center, and by Fedway Associates. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.